Lead 28-7 at the half over the Cardinals. This week's You Call It. How many field goals will the Cowboys have in the second half of today's game? Join us on the internet. Log on to foxsports.com and we wish you good luck. This week's Ask the Pros question from Glenn Sabree in Kentucky. Why is Emmitt Smith playing better now than he did in 1996 or 1997? I'll put that question to John Madden.
You know, I think it's three things, Pat. I think one, Emmitt Smith is healthy. I mean, a year ago he wasn't healthy. He had that bad ankle and he couldn't make cuts. Moose Johnston wasn't healthy. I think that's the second point. And then I think Chan Gailey coming in with a new system, a fresh system, and is kind of giving Emmitt Smith and his blockers and Moose Johnston and everyone around him a new life.
And I think, of course, you have to give credit to the offensive line as well, as Emmitt does.
And I think they're the same thing, that they're healthy too. I mean, that Eric Williams is back and Larry Allen has adjusted at left tackle. I think Flozell Adams has really done a good job, at that right guard. And that whole thing, you take everyone's health and all those guys back together.
And to summarize the first half, Arizona, which has lived on taking advantage of the turnovers, capitalizing on turnovers, has committed 2-0 for Dallas. Dallas has gotten 14 points off of those 2 turnovers. Emmitt Smith has rushed 14 times for 71 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Michael Irvin doesn't have a catch yet today.
And the other big thing, it says there that the Cowboys, don't have any turnovers. The other thing, they don't have a penalty. The Cowboys didn't have a penalty in the first half. And then here's the big thing. This is what's really hurting the Cardinals. If you look on first down, they're only averaging 2.5. So that's part of it's a Cowboy defense. Part of it is that Cardinal offense. Then that gives them that 3rd and long. So they're averaging darn near 3rd and 7. And it's tough to play against nickel defenses. And the Cowboys are one of the best nickel defenses in football. And it's hard to play against that defense, especially. It's hard for any quarterback. I was going to say especially for a young quarterback.
Well, of course, if you look at the field position.
Yeah, they haven't had. I mean, the Cardinals haven't had any field position. Look at where they've started. I mean, it's all been down there. The best place that they've started was right there at about the 25-yard line. So they've had to go a long field. I mean, they've had to go at least 75 yards every time they've gotten the ball. And you're not going to do that against this Dallas Cowboy defense.
The band had better field position than the Cardinals did.
And how about those cheerleaders that they had in the pregame? They had some mature cheerleaders.
Mature is correct.
Yeah, male and female.
Mature is kind.
And they looked like they were having fun. And sometimes that's what life is all about, is having some fun, huh?
Boy, you got that right. Dallas kickoff sails down to Metcalf. The short kick. Metcalf brings it out of there to the 40. Good return. And the Cardinals just put it into that starting point on their field position.
And that makes a difference. And now instead of having that 75 or 80 yards to go, they have 60 yards to go.
And let's check out carefully who starts at cornerback.
Well, some of the Cowboys are still coming out of the locker room.
Yeah.
There's one, in fact, I think that's Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith just ran out of the locker room and he ran right to his left corner position. He did.
Well, Deion Sanders is not playing. Kevin Smith is. Charlie Williams has taken Deion's place.
I think that's where I'd go to work.
Plummer on first down has the ball batted back about 30 yards by Kavika Pittman.
The interesting thing, the thing we talked about the Cardinals earlier is is how they led the whole NFL in takeaways with 27, and now instead of taking away, they're giving it away, and the Cowboys are doing on defense what the Cardinals had been doing on defense.
2nd and 10. Plummer. Caught by Sanders. And let's send you down to the sideline to Kevin McCabe.
Well, guys, the X-ray results are in, and there doesn't appear to be any bone damage to Deion Sanders' left big toe. He was walking around without the shoe off, limping around. He told me that it wasn't likely he would return with the lead the way it is, but Deion, he likes to play possum, as you mentioned earlier, John. If the score shrinks a little bit, don't be surprised if you see 21 return in dramatic fashion.
Murrell trying to get the first down, doesn't get it. The Cowboys knock him backwards. It's 4th and about 1.5 yards. And what do you do now?
I think you have to punt. I mean, it's, you know, there's too much time, and you've already had a turnover, and I think you punt and give the Cowboys a long field, although the Cardinals aren't going to do it. I mean, that's what I would do, but I don't think they're going to do it unless they're going to try and draw them off sides here.
4th and 1, and Plummer up under the center and drops to throw it. Hit just as he let it go, but gets the completion in front of Darren Woodson as Sanders.
I'll tell you, that's confidence in your young quarterback. You know, you would think, you know, short yardage, they'd run it, they'd get in split backs, and Jake Plummer throws the ball. But he just comes back here, and again, he's found a guy that he's going to throw to, and Frank Sanders. Frank Sanders was a guy that, you know, was catching those passes, caught the touchdown pass just before the half.
First down. And Sanders looking back into the sun. I'm sure he couldn't see it.
He's putting his hand up there like he's shielding his eyes from the sun, because, as you say, that was a perfect pass. I mean, Jake Plummer throws it right into Frank Sanders' hands.
Not the perfect spiral.
Yeah, it's not a tight spiral, but it does hit him right in the hands.
He lost.
In fact, man, it hit him in the shoulder before it even got to his hand.
The sun blinded him. Here comes Dion, no shoulder. Yeah, he does have his shoulder pads on, doesn't he?
He just wears small shoulder pads, but the key, he doesn't have a hat. I mean, he's wearing a cap.
He is limping.
You have to have a hard hat to play this game.
The blitz didn't quite get to Plummer as he got the ball to Johnny McWilliams, and that'll be another Cardinal first down.
You know
touchdown here, they can get back in it.
And you know what I like about Jake Plummer is he has quickness. You know, I mean, he can get back there. There's going to be a pretty good pass rush here. He just steps up. He's going to take a hit there, but he just steps right up into it. Randall Godfrey was right in his face, and he got that ball out of there.
Jake the Snake, the local hero. Drafted by the Cardinals after the years at Arizona State. That's Murrell for 1 yard, perhaps.
Yeah, he was saying yesterday how it's kind of an advantage that there was one less adjustment that he had to make, and that was, you know, changing towns. I mean, he not only played football in this town at college at Arizona State, but he also played his college football in this stadium. They're going without no huddle.
2nd and 7. Plummer swung. Godfrey first there.
Yeah, that was one of the things that the Cowboys talked about, that they were going to rush Randall Godfrey more than they had before. Just use him as a pass rusher. And you see, he's just blitzing right here. No one blocked him. It was a little delayed blitz. Looked like Lester Holmes, the guard, looked at him, and then Randall Godfrey just delayed for a second, and then Lester Holmes took his eyes off him, and then he came.
Here's Plummer. The protection this time is good, and the receiver is wide open. That's Sanders, and Sanders trying to get around Kevin Smith. And it's going to be 1st and goal, Cardinals.
You know, Kevin Smith is a lot better when he plays up tight, and he just gives too much cushion. You see, he's up there, but he's not up in a position where he can bump him. See, and then he has to run off, and then he runs off too far. You see, he reads up, and then the Giants did the same thing to him last week. But Frank Sanders is having a big day.
Is he ever? 1st and goal at the 8. Plummer better hurry.
He's audibleizing here.
Jake throws the fade. Incomplete. Charlie Williams was there with Eric Metcalf.
I think that's where he wants to go. I mean, they realize that Deion Sanders isn't there now, and they have Charlie Williams. He's a guy that they want to work on, and he throws that fade or that quick up. That's a pretty good throw. I mean, that's
pretty good coverage.
Yeah, it was good coverage by Charlie Williams, and very close to being a completion. You know, they're all having trouble with his son now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Cardinals. Even Jake Plummer is having trouble as he's looking into that sun.
Shadows just out at the end of the line, the offensive line. Cowboys showing blitz, and Plummer calls timeout.
Yeah, because he had one of those empty backfields, so he had no one to pick up a blitz.
28-7.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Volvo. Volvo reminds you to drive safely.
See why the Cardinals had to take timeout is when you have 5 receivers, that means you only have 5 blockers. Now you can block 5, so you got 4 here. When the 5th comes up, you can still block him. When the 6th comes up, you can't block it. You're going to be a guy short.
And we're back live, 2nd and 8. Plummer going to take off himself. And he's chased out of bounds at the 8, and there's a flag on the play. They had him by the face mask.
And that's the 2nd time that happened. The back went to the left, and Jake Plummer went to the right to hand it off to him, and he wasn't there. It's the 2nd time that's happened in this game. Jake Plummer, you know, can move with the ball, so when he makes a mistake like that, he just takes off.
Face mask.
See, now he's going to turn the wrong way, or the back goes. See, he turns to the right, and there's no one there to hand off, so he just runs the ball himself. And then you'll watch right here at the end, you see Kevin Smith make the thing, and he just put his left hand up on Plummer's face. I don't know.
That's close.
I don't know that that's a face mask at all.
I don't think so.
I mean, he never did get his hand on the face mask. I mean, he got his hand up there, but he never did grab it at all.
He took it away after he got it up there almost immediately. Jake Plummer in the 2nd half last week, 16 out of 17. This week he's pretty effective too, 17 out of 30.
And that's the first Cowboy penalty today.
Yep. Still 2nd down. And goal. Plummer. Incomplete. Short. Rob Moore, the intended receiver. That's a tough place to throw it looking back in that sun.
Rob Moore didn't even look back in the sun. I think that you know Jake Plummer threw it before Rob Moore turned. And I don't know that Rob Moore even ever turned, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
That's what the sun looks like. And maybe, you know, without Deion Sanders here, I'm sure they're still trying to work on Kevin Smith over there, but maybe it's a little easier to work on the shady part of the field.
Well, they got the wide side over here as well. And a timeout this time.
Because this is a tough area to work right here.
They take their 2nd timeout.
They've wasted a heck of a lot. That's the 4th timeout they've wasted in this game.
28-7 Dallas.
NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
13th play of this drive coming up. Pat Summerall here with John Madden. Sun Devil Stadium, the home of the Cardinals, and Dallas leading 28-7. The Cardinals trying to cut that lead. Plummer. Incomplete. I think it hit the defender in the back of the head.
I think that was Charlie Williams,
Yep.
and it did. Charlie Williams gets right inside of Rob Moore. You see he's inside. Rob Moore has him beaten. Had that ball been thrown outside, that's a touchdown.
Yep.
He throws it a little short, and he throws it right into the back of Charlie Williams' head. See, because Rob Moore really did have Charlie Williams beaten, and he could have thrown it to the corner pylon.
They're going to go on 4th. Plummer looking for a place to go, and he won't get there. The flag on the play. Leon left. Plummer might have fumbled, and the Cowboys have it, but there's a penalty marker down.
And it's down in that end zone, and it's the same area where they were working before, where Rob Moore is. And in fact, that was the place that Jake Plummer was trying to throw. Rob Moore to the left side, and that's going to be the penalty against the Cowboys. It'll probably be against Charlie Williams because he was out there on Rob Moore just like he was the play before. This is going to be an automatic 1st down.
And that's a big penalty. 25 he's asking. That's Charlie Williams.
Holding. 25 defense. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
See, and they started to work the left side. Here it is right here. They started to work Rob Moore. They started to work Charlie Williams. And they started to work the shade. I don't know that Rob Moore doesn't push off first, and then Charlie Williams pushes off. There's so much pushing this way on every pass call. They do that.
That's a tough call. That's Mario Bates. He's herded backwards.
I'll tell you, they load up on you. You know, down here in the goal line. You look at that guy there, Darren Woodson. He's a safety, but he plays just like a linebacker. And again, they really load up, and it's tough to get because they're always going to have a free guy. And you see, they not only have a free guy at the point of attack, but they also have a free guy coming from the backside.
That's Omar Stoutmeyer first up there.
And Omar Stoutmeyer is another safety that can play like a linebacker.
2nd and 2.
There's a play pass.
He's in. Mario Bates. Touchdown Cardinals. Narrows the gap to 2 touchdowns. 28-14. The Cowboys haven't been on the field on offense in the second half yet.
Adrian Murrell was the starting running back for the Cardinals, but when they get down on the goal line, they bring in Mario Bates. And you can see Bates here. This is a little counter. You see, he starts to the right, then he's going to cut back to the left. That looked like he bobbled that thing a little, didn't it?
Yes, he did.
But you see, when he started to the right, then the Cowboys really went for that 4-hole, and he ran it back into the 5-hole.
Nedney for the extra point. I think it got through. It did. It was deflected, but it still got through, and it's 28-14. Touchdown Bates. (28-14) third quarter. Mario Bates, who just scored the touchdown to get the Cardinals closer. Emmitt Smith has already passed Walter Payton and tied Jim Brown today in all-time career touchdown. Nedney's kickoff sails deep, and the Cowboys will start at the 20. Chris Warren.
You wonder what, we talk about being on a pile and on the bottom of the pile and what it's like. Look at Jake Plummer.
You're a lot better if you're face down.
And he's the quarterback, and he gets beaten up like that. That's in the trenches. You never expect the old quarterback to be in the trenches, but old Jake got caught in the trenches, and 25 years from now, he's going to have bees in his mouth.
Now the Cardinal defense will be challenged and see if they can hold up their end of it as the offensive unit has put them closer. Here's Aikman. Gets it to LaFleur, and LaFleur carries a couple for an extra yard or two. Pat Tillman.
Troy Aikman tried to get that one to Michael Irvin, Pat, and that's when he kind of load and reloaded and brought it back again because of the coverage. And Michael Irvin still hasn't caught a pass, but he's going to come in here, and you see the safety looking here, and the corner gets a jump on it. That's Aeneas Williams. Aeneas Williams did the same thing that Deion Sanders did on the interception.
Well, he follows Michael Irvin wherever he goes.
Yeah, and he beat Michael Irvin to the slant point.
They need 2 for a first. Emmitt Smith might have gotten 2, but that's all. Mark Smith made the first contact with him.
Aeneas Williams is one of the solid players. He's an 8th-year guy, and he's one of the solid players that this Cardinal team has had for a long time. And every week he takes a tough receiver. He's a Pro Bowl corner, and you just hope that someday that these guys that are great players and really good guys, you hope that someday that they win and start to get in some playoffs and championships and maybe a Super Bowl in their career.
First down. Aikman. There's a flag on the play. Who's going to throw it?
Yeah, but that is a pretty good battle out there between Aeneas Williams and Michael Irvin. And
Always
Aeneas Williams
been.
keeps switching them up.
Snap, false start, 89 offense. 5 yards, repeat first down.
LaFleur.
David LaFleur must lead all of football in false starts. And I think at some point Chan Gailey's going to lose his cool about this guy, because this is one of the things that he calls pre-snap penalties.
He's still in his stance.
Yeah, well, he's bluffing that one because he had moved and then stayed there. I think David LaFleur, I never heard Chan Gailey say it, but I think David LaFleur is driving Chan Gailey crazy with that.
We keep saying we're trying to get him more involved. And Aikman drops the throw. The toss is caught. by Billy Davis.
What a perfect throw by Troy Aikman. That was perfect. Billy Davis got a step. And then when Billy Davis got that step, Troy Aikman put it right in there. Tom Knight is number 22. He's the corner. Watch Billy Davis gets one little push, and Troy Aikman makes a perfect pass.
That's with that bad finger.
Yeah, I think that bad finger is just a thing that makes him throw better. Because then he doesn't worry about all the other things. Because Troy Aikman tends to be a little worrywart, you know.
A big worrywart.
Well, he's a big worrywart. So that gives him something to worry about so then he can just go play.
First and 10 Dallas at the Cardinal 31, and now they stop the clock.
But those wristbands that he's playing with doesn't mean he doesn't know his plays. That's just to call the plays quicker. And the guy that emailed him about what are you doing with wristbands, you don't know the offense, don't email him anymore. Because he blames us for that.
I was talking to Dave Campo, who runs the Cowboy defensive unit before the game. He said, please say hello to my son, Mike. There's Dave, who's been in traction for 3.5 weeks with a broken leg. Just the message was, I haven't forgotten about you, son.
Well, we say hello to Mike, too, and best wishes to him. But Dave who's done an outstanding job with this Cowboy defense.
He really has.
He's been the coordinator.
Emmitt Smith, the lone back. Aikman wheels it outside to Billy Davis.
You know, Billy Davis, a week ago, I was looking at him, and he had his hair platinum.
Yeah.
You know, and it was all the color. He had platinum, and then today I looked at it, and he had it all shaved off. So he's a lot quicker this week. I don't know if you've noticed it, but I think he's picked up a step and a half today.
Well, platinum's heavy. It slows you down.
And he had, yeah, it's a material, and he had it all taken off, and he's picked up a step and a half. What do you call that? It's a thing. You know, people. It's a commodity they trade in.
Platinum, yeah. Oh yeah. Valuable commodity. That's Emmitt Smith, cut down after it looked like he might break it by Pat Tillman.
Pat Tillman is an interesting guy. He was a 7th-round pick of the Cardinals, and he also played here at Arizona State. But he was a linebacker, you know, like Darren Woodson was, but
he doesn't have his head shaved.
Yeah, he was an inside linebacker. No, he's the opposite of Billy Davis. Billy Davis doesn't have any of the hair, and Pat Tillman has all of the hair. He took, like when they had the hair shelf,
yeah.
Pat Tillman took it all.
I mean, he won all the prizes.
He took all the hair off the shelf. How much does hair you want? I'll take it all.
Here's that option play coming again. Mills kept it that time and cut it upfield to the 15.
You know, they also had, Chan Gailey was saying, for this area in a short yardage, they had a play like that for Deion Sanders, and I'll bet you it was going to be Ernie Mills running the option, and the guy that he was going to option it to would probably be Deion Sanders. But Deion Sanders, because of his injury, hasn't been any part of the offense today.
Just over 5 minutes left, and Aikman, I think, is going to call a timeout, or he's checking with the official about something. Yes, he wants a timeout.
He's wasted a timeout.
Yep. They have 2 left. The Cowboys do. 4:54 left in the third.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. By Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste. By the motor oil that provides maximum protection, Castrol GTX, drive hard. And by the United States Marine Corps, the change is forever.
The other guy, the guy down there,
Dog?
he lost.
Yeah, that was Dog. He was a slow draw. Did you see him? I mean, he looked like a stiff trying to draw. Where you end up, if you're a stiff and a slow draw, you're going to end up in your back.
Aikman back to Emmitt Smith. Emmitt to the 10 and out of bounds at about the 7. First down, first and goal from that point.
Yeah, one of the guys that's still springing Emmitt Smith is Moose Johnston,
yeah,
but not leading inside as much as he used to. Remember when they used to just ram Moose in there, and then Emmitt Smith would follow him inside? Now they're going outside, but they're doing the same type of thing. And if you see Moose Johnson, he's number 48 there. Watch him right here. He'll still get a block that will spring Emmitt Smith, but it's a different type of block than it used to be.
No longer the battering ram type, and this is a timeout.
And that's Aeneas Williams down there. Pro Bowl player that we were just talking about. It's really been in a battle all day with Michael Irvin. In fact, he has shut Michael Irvin out today.
So far.
They've mixed up the coverages, and he's had help. We've seen Pat Tillman give him some help. You're going to see number 35 come in right there. So he just kind of gets caught up in there.
Been a hard day for cornerbacks. Kevin Smith with a bad shoulder, and Aeneas Williams limping now. Deion Sanders unable to return after a bad toe problem. That was Aeneas Williams' right toe. There's Deion back with a baseball hat on. He's still limping.
You know, you always think of corners as just covering and covering wide receivers, but if you run a sweep to their side, and a lot of times they have force and support, and they not only have to come up and make the tackle, but they have to take on guards and tackles and, you know, fullbacks and those kinds of things.
First and goal at the 6. There's that famous list on Aikman's wrist.
You know, there wasn't one pass attempted on Aeneas Williams today.
Aikman has hit 11 straight passes. He gives to Emmitt again. Emmitt gets a couple. There's Aeneas Williams. He really has been a warrior, hasn't he?
Well, he has, and sometimes, you know, like I was saying earlier, you just hope that sometimes these great players that play on bad teams somewhere in their career, either their team gets good or they get an opportunity to play on a good team.
With free agency, that can always happen. Second goal at the 3. Emmitt Smith, his third of the day. He passed Jim Brown. He passed Walter Payton, the great Walter Payton, and he passed the great Jim Brown. Sometimes we use great too much, but when you talk about those two guys, you don't. When you talk about him, you don't.
There's going to be a day that someone is going to pass the great Emmitt Smith.
Cunningham for the extra point.
But this line is really working well together again.
Cunningham is good, and it's 35-14.
Look at Big Nate, number 61, pull around. Was that a collision?
Yeah. 35-14, and last year, you know, the Cowboys had a tough time scoring when they got in the so-called red zone inside the 20. They were tied, or they were next to last all by themselves. The year before that, they were well down the ladder, and today they've had 5 opportunities and scored 5 touchdowns, so they're taking care of that problem if it was a problem. They've pretty well taken care of it before today, but today helped. Metcalf wrapped up at the 26.
And there was just a shot at Emmitt Smith, and he had a golf ball.
Somebody threw a golf ball at him.
Threw a golf ball at him, and that's something. I mean, a guy does something like this, and that's the last thing you need. I mean, you wonder why anyone would either bring a golf ball to a stadium to throw. And there's a lot of great fans in football, a lot of great fans in this stadium and all stadiums, but there's also some dumb ones.
Plummer out of the pocket, throws. Pass complete to Sanders.
Yeah, if you'd have to say, does Jake Plummer have a go-to guy today? It would sure have to be Frank Sanders, wasn't it? A week ago, it was, I mean, a year ago, it was Rob Moore. He was their go-to guy. You see Aeneas Williams there. They're taping that toe. I wonder if that's one of those turf toe injuries. You talked about corner injuries, and 2 corners have 2 toe injuries.
Adrian Murrell picking his way.
getting banged around them, and those trainers and doctors and on both sides are working overtime today.
Very warm day. Not so much now with the sun headed down behind the stands, but earlier it was very warm. Here's Plummer. Has a man open. Gedney right in the middle.
And we talked about Frank Sanders, being his go-to guy. Chris Gedney in the middle has been a pretty good deal for him too. Because what happens is they start to, the Cowboys use some of that cover too, where the safeties each take halves, and then the linebackers are responsible for the tight end in the middle. And Chris Gedney is just getting behind those linebackers in front of the safety.
Here comes the blitz. Plummer just lofts it, and the pass is caught by Metcalf. Charlie Williams.
Yeah, he saw the blitz. Now the blitz means that you're going to have man-to-man. Charlie Williams has no help. There's no safety over there. In fact, that one could have been interference.
Could have been.
He bumped him and hit him when the ball was in the air, but Jake Plummer makes a perfect throw there to Eric Metcalf.
And they hurry up. Still time left in the third quarter. Murrell. Nothing doing.
I'm impressed with Jake Plummer. I mean, he's only in his second year, but I think he's going to be one. There's Billy Davis there that they're working on. Yeah, you can see, and that made him faster because he got the platinum off his head, but then because he ran so fast, he pulled the hamstring. So that's why if you get platinum on your head, you never want to take it off.
Not a good idea. At the 15, here's Plummer back to throw. Throws outside to Gedney again, and Gedney's inside the 5.
And look, you see what Kevin Smith did? He take both hands and grabbed his head. Anytime that happens, here's Gedney. He's a tight end. They line him up as a wide receiver out there on Kevin Smith. Now, Kevin Smith gives him way too big a cushion, and then he comes up and misses the tackle. And then both hands,
the touchdown.
Both hands have to go to the head when you do something like Kevin Smith just did.
Remember, he's playing with a bad shoulder.
And he's playing with, his confidence in the middle. I mean, not down in the bottom, but not up on top either.
Gedney, 3 catches, 67 yards. First and goal, Arizona. Plummer looks left. Touchdown. Rob Moore on the fade.
Yep. That thing's been there all day today, Pat, but it had to be outside, and Jake Plummer finally got it outside. You see Rob Moore is inside. He keeps Charlie Williams inside. Now that ball had to be thrown outside more, and that's the first time Jake Plummer did it. Rob Moore, I think, again had a little push-off out there on Charlie Williams. But Jake Plummer has some accuracy, too.
Yes, he does.
He's not all about running and moving. He's also about standing in there and throwing it pretty well.
Extra point good by Nedney, and it's 35-21 with 4 seconds to go in the third quarter. Still a lot of football left.
And that's right where he had to throw that one. Yep. He had it twice earlier, and once he threw it inside too much, and then on the other one, he had a pass interference, and in that one, he finally got the completion that he'd been looking for. But I tell you, he not only, has thrown to Frank Sanders, and then we saw the touchdown that he threw here to Rob Moore, the couple of passes to Gedney, both as a tight end and as a wide receiver. Great mixture.
Remember, on October the 5th, the Vikings went into Lambeau and ended the Packers' home winning streak. Next week, it's payback as the Packers look to return the favor against their divisional rivals. Coverage begins with the pregame show live from the Metrodome, where we'll be at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check your local listing.
Kevin Smith is still hitting himself in the head, and one, and giving a tight end that big a cushion, and two, on after you gave him that big a cushion, missing the tackle.
This kickoff should be the last play of the quarter. And it sails way deep in the end zone where it's handled by Chris Warren. And that's the end of the third quarter with the score: the Cowboys 35, the Cardinals 21. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox station. Back at sold-out Sun Devil Stadium, Pat Summerall, John Madden. Another of the Cardinals headed for X-rays or for the locker room. Maddox. Mark Maddox. Cowboys at their own 20.
You haven't heard much from Simeon Rice today, nor Andre Wadsworth.
Nope.
Larry Allen and Eric Williams have done a good job.
Here's Aikman dropping a throw. Drops it out to Emmitt Smith. And Emmitt lost the ball, fumble, and a flag. Cardinals get the ball, but there's a penalty marker down.
And that was in the defensive backfield, where it's usually in the area of a defensive penalty. And that's exactly what it is. So the Cardinals aren't going to get that ball. But that's the thing that has really helped the Cardinals all year is getting the takeaways.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, 95 defense, 5 yards, first down Dallas.
Jameer Miller. Emmitt kicked that ball out with his own knee.
Yeah. He just kneed that ball out. That penalty was on Jameer Miller. So that's going to be an automatic first down for the Cowboys. But bigger than that, the Cardinals don't get the ball, and look at the field position that they would have had. They would have had the ball there on the 20-yard line.
First and 10, Dallas at their own 25. And the handoff is to Emmitt Smith, who's hit down behind the line by Mark Smith. And right now for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Pat and John take a look at Tampa Bay trying to win its first game on the road this season. Trent Dilfer starting the fourth, hooks up with Riedel Anthony. It looks like they might nip him at the heels. They do, but he maintains his balance. 79 yards later, he's at pay dirt. Tampa Bay on top in the fourth. Back to Pat and John.
Championship of Florida at stake.
And that penalty on that play must have been against Jacksonville.
Must have been, although the championship might be settled in Miami with Jimmy Johnson. Here's Aikman giving to Emmitt Smith, who spins after he picks up a couple or three. Pat Tillman.
You talk about great players and great defensive linemen and guys. There's one, Joe Green. Remember having coached against him so many years when I was with the Oakland Raiders, and Joe Green was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was the first guy that lined up in that gap, you know, that cock thing they have where the tackle lines up between the guard and the center. I'll tell you, he was really tough in there. He always had a double him.
And we talked to him yesterday, and he voted against Terry Bradshaw's facial hair.
Joe Green did?
Yes, he did. As they play together. Aikman gets it to Chris Warren. That's close to a first down.
Yeah, I was saying that we haven't seen Simeon Rice all day, and the reason you haven't heard from him is he's out there against Larry Allen, and if you try and run around Larry Allen, which he's trying to do, by the time you get around him, you're already by the quarterback, and that doesn't do you any good. I remember I used to say the worst position a pass rusher can be is right there behind the quarterback. Both defensive ends ended up behind the quarterback.
And all you see back there is the other defensive end.
Yeah, and I was telling you, he's not going to lateral to you. He's not going to throw it to you. You got to get in front of him.
Aikman to throw again. That's Emmitt Smith, and Emmitt takes it to Cardinal territory, stopped by McKinnon.
Yeah, and McKinnon better stop him because McKinnon missed him the first time. Ronald McKinnon had great position on him. You watch him, and he has him out here. Here's 57. He's going to come out. He has him right here. You see, he misses a tackle, or Emmitt Smith made him miss a tackle. Now McKinnon has to chase him from behind and catch up and make the tackle. Had he made it the first time, he wouldn't have had to chase him to catch him to make it the second time.
Emmitt gets a rest, and Chris Warren comes in behind Troy Aikman, who's hit 13 in a row. First and 10. Warren, the carrier. Warren gets about 5.
You know, and the other thing is Troy Aikman has thrown so well today and so accurate, but the big thing, he hasn't been sacked, and I think that's the offensive line. I mean, you know, if anyone's going to get there, it's going to be Simeon Rice, but Larry Allen has completely shut out Simeon Rice.
Well, the other guys, the new center, Kieselak, has done a good job.
Yeah,
Nate's done a good job.
Yeah, they don't have the rushers inside. I mean, the 2 rushers are coming from the outside, and they haven't gotten close to Troy Aikman.
2nd and 5. Warren again. Hit in the backfield, broke away from that one, and slipped for a couple of yards.
You know, another interesting thing is again, Michael Irvin hasn't had a ball thrown to him today, hasn't caught a pass, and he's coming into this game with a streak of 117 games that he's caught a pass in. And you can see he's very, very frustrated. I was watching him on the bench the last time when their defense was out there, and he was sitting in the end of the bench all by himself. And he's a guy that I always thought you had to get him the ball and get him the ball early to keep him in the game. There's that 5 wide receivers now with no one in the backfield.
Except Aikman, who's in the shotgun. And here comes the blitz. And Aikman has it batted backwards. And he goes down. Mark Smith put on the pressure and got the hand up that knocked it down.
Mark Smith is a guy that's really come on since Eric Swan has been hurt. You're going to see him. He's right here in the left-handed stance. He makes a move right there on Kieselak, and he just comes right up the middle on Troy Aikman. Watch him make the move. See, Kieselak gets his head out too much. He gets his nose over his toes, and when you get your nose over your toes, Mark Smith can run right by you.
Where should your nose be if not over your toes?
Your nose should be back. Your nose should never be extended where it gets over your toes. It should always, your nose should always be behind your toes in pass protection.
Here the Cardinals are showing blitz again, and there's a flag on the play. And another one.
We were talking to Troy Aikman whether he likes his shotgun or not. He said it doesn't really make any difference whether I like it or not. He said because Chan does, and every 3rd down he's going to call it.
Delay game offense, 5 yards, repeat 4th down.
Too long.
He says that, you know, that Kieselak, he said, snaps the ball. In fact, he used the word hike. I hadn't used the word hike. He said he really hikes the ball hard back there.
There's Dale Hillestray,
he is a great hiker.
Maybe the best hiker.
That's how he does that. And watch where that ball will be placed. That ball's going to be right there where the punter wants.
Goen gets the high kick. And it sails into the end zone, and the Cardinals will start from their 20. Jeff Ogden a bit shaken in the end zone. 10:07 left.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Chevy S10, like a rock. By IBM, are you ready for e-business? By First Union, your guide to the financial world. And by UPS, moving at the speed of business.
Do you ever ride a horse?
Not as good as that cowgirl.
She's been doing it all of her life. 35-21, 10 minutes left. Plummer back to throw. Gets it out to Murrell. Murrell gets about 6.
Yeah, we're talking about the tackles of the Dallas Cowboys, but the Cardinals have one in Lomas Brown, who for a long time has been a good tackler. He's in his 14th year, and he is really a good pass protector. I mean,
so many years with Detroit.
And I mean, he's such a solid guy and a solid player, and you know, I mean, he gets his guy, and you can usually say that, you know, that you're not going to get a lot of pressure from your left side because that's where Lomas Brown plays.
2 tight ends this time up. Plummer rolls and looks and is forced out of the pocket, and he's very mobile and finds a man down the field. That's Frank Sanders, and Sanders spent a lot of time out of bounds, but he's still got the chains moved and a lot more.
Yeah, but this guy is something. I mean, this Jake Plummer is something special. I mean, you can just see that he can do that when he has pass protection. He can hit things, and when he doesn't have pass protection, he can move like that and then still buy time and then find a receiver. And he sure kind of likes Frank Sanders. Yeah. Then he likes Rob Moore when he gets close. Then every once in a while, throw one to Chris Gedney.
Murrell to the 30. And that's the Dallas 30 with still just under 9 minutes left. 35-21.
It seems like the second half, this Dallas Cowboy defense has been on the field a lot.
It seems like it.
It was a long time. Remember that first drive that the Cardinals had?
Yeah. Well, that was over 5 minutes.
Yeah, in the third quarter, they had the ball almost 9 minutes.
Second and 7.
Over 6.
Second and 7. Here's Plummer. And this time he can't get away. That is Hervin McCormick.
That's a second play Hervin McCormick made today. Remember earlier in the game, he got a fumble recovery on a reverse play, and here he gets a big sack on Jake Plummer. You're going to see, we're talking about the pressure. He just comes right up the middle. You see it, Jake Plummer felt a little pressure from his right. So then he was forced from his right, and then he had to step up, and he stepped right into Hervin McCormick.
On third down, Plummer with time this time. And with a man open, it's Sanders again. And that'll move the sticks.
This Plummer's something, but so is Sanders.
Yep.
And they're still working out here on Kevin Smith. Although this one is a zone. You see, it's that double coverage, and they bump him. And then once he got by Kevin Smith, he just sat down there, and he just sat in that zone, which is a hole between where the corner rotated up and the safety rotated over.
Kenny Wheaton, the safety, just couldn't get there. 25 out of 40 for Plummer. 341 yards. Big day.
Yeah, how about Sanders? Frank Sanders has 9 catches.
Here's Murrell. And he is hit and knocked backwards.
By Darren Woodson.
Yep. We'll do that.
Yeah, we have 2 safeties in this game that were linebackers at Arizona State.
Woodson.
Darren Woodson, of course, and he can run, and then Pat Tillman. Although I think Darren Woodson was a rover or outside linebacker.
Yeah, he was.
Woodson even said that he thought Tillman was an inside linebacker.
They're showing blitz. They won't get there. And Plummer will have time and incomplete. Kevin Smith covered Rob Moore.
Look at Jake Plummer there. He's trying to talk him into one here. Yeah, every time that you throw one deep now, you're always looking for pass interference.
Well, the odds are pretty good.
Well, and right there they could have called something, because you can't push or touch a guy after 5 yards, and they were both pushing and grabbing and tugging.
Moore was
after
grabbing. 5. Moore's got got.
He has Kevin Smith's jersey.
Yeah. Third down and 10.
Moore's been pushing all day.
Yeah. Here's Plummer with time. Incomplete. That one sailed high over Moore. Now what do? Field goal or go for the 7?
I think Jake Plummer did that one on purpose. I think you take the field goal. Yeah, I think that you do that and then just keep adding points. I mean, I don't think that you have that need right now.
I don't see Nedney.
Now, and they're thinking that that they need 2 touchdowns, so they have to go for 1 now. That is a type of thinking, but I've always believed you get the score and just keep adding them up, and then you wait until you're down to around 3 minutes and start to worry about it.
They're going to go on 4th. Plummer back to throw it, and he is sacked. And does get rid of it, but doesn't matter. The Cowboys will take over. Randall Godfrey put the heat on him.
And see, you always assume when you're going to go for it that you're going to get the first down. But then when you don't, then you just left 3 points out there.
Dallas takes over.
On that 4th down pass rush, here's Randall Godfrey. Now watch him. He runs a stunt. You see, Chad Hennings goes to the outside, grabs the center. Randall Godfrey just comes right around it, and watch him extend on Jake Plummer. What an extension right there. In fact, he extends so much he knocks his helmet off. That is a heck of a rush.
The Cowboys take it over. 1st and 10 at their own 16, and Emmitt Smith gets the carry. Just a couple. Emmitt has 22 carries on the day, 98 yards.
That's what happens at the end, Pat, when you lose your helmet like that. And you get to do a little dance as you get up. But the Cowboys are using Randall Godfrey more, blitzing him, rushing him against the passer with the 3-man line.
Well, he's a good athlete to begin with and a heck of a pass rusher.
Yeah, and he started from the middle. Someday, Randall Godfrey's going to be the middle linebacker of this Cowboy team because that's really where he belongs.
2nd and 9. Emmitt got a yard. Emmitt rainbows ahead. That should put him over 100 for the afternoon. That's his 54th career 100-yard game.
I remember for years the Cowboys were about the triplets, and it was Troy Aikman throwing to Michael Irvin and handing it to Emmitt Smith, and they've gotten back to the Emmitt Smith part of it, but for some reason in the last couple of weeks they've lost the Michael Irvin part of it.
Aikman they still have. He's had a wonderful afternoon, and Emmitt's over 100.
And they're throwing more to Billy Davis and Ernie Mills and LaFleur and the back, and not Michael Irvin.
That's Emmitt again, and he's close. Mark Smith tripped him up.
But I'll bet you somewhere someone's going to say that that Michael Irvin has a streak going here of 117 games, and he hasn't caught a pass yet. We ought to get one to him because he hasn't caught one. I don't think they've thrown one to him.
I don't think there's been one in his direction even.
Oh, and part of that has been the coverage of the Cardinals, and part of it's been Aeneas Williams.
They're going to measure here, to see how close Emmitt got. But whatever it is, if it's not, it looks a little short, and they're going to have to punt.
And I think in this situation you do punt. I mean, even though you're looking and say inches, you could finish the game here, and in this situation you punt the ball.
I think so. Toby Goen can let go with this one. Metcalf back deep. Father, of course, an outstanding player with the Cardinals. They were in St. Louis. Comes an extra something.
We looked at Jake Plummer on the ground, and anyone, when you get on the ground, it's not a pleasant experience. Look at Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt's not even blinking.
No. I mean, that's when you know you're a tough running back, when a guy can put a knee upside your head, inside your face mask, and your eyes don't blink.
Yeah.
Because if your eyes didn't blink when a guy put the knee up in there, you know that you weren't going to flinch.
Maybe that's one of the reasons he's such a great runner and has been such an outstanding runner.
I don't think anyone has ever questioned Emmitt Smith's toughness.
Toughness or his tremendous peripheral vision.
Or unblinkability or unflinchability.
It's a good kick by Goen. Chases Metcalf all the way back inside the 20. And he's hit down about the 28. There's Godfrey down to make the stop. Sun Devil Stadium, the MetLife Blimp Snoopy 2, providing a bird's eye view of today's NFL action. Combined Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2 travel over 120,000 miles a year. Look to the skies for Snoopy and the MetLife Blimp. We've seen it hovering around here for a couple of days.
That's usually where you will find a blimp, is when you look to the skies.
Yeah, I hope so. There's Frank Sanders from Plummer.
Did you see that Deion Sanders is back in the game?
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I can't either. I think that they finally realized that that the Cardinals were moving the ball, and they were working out there on Charlie Williams, and maybe just by being out there they'll stay away from that area.
2nd and 1. For those of you expecting to see World's Funniest, it'll be seen following football except on the West Coast, where it'll be seen at its regular time. 4 minutes left to play at Sun Devil Stadium. Dallas 35, Arizona 21.
Now Jake Plummer's calling his own plays. Quarterbacks love this when you go hurry up, no huddle, and they get to call their own plays.
Jake going deep. Sanders again is out of bounds inside the Dallas 30.
They have something going today. Jake Plummer and Frank Sanders. Watch Sanders right here. I mean, he is working here man-to-man against Darren Woodson, and he just out-muscles him there. He out-muscles him, and you don't do that a lot to Darren Woodson. But look at this pass and how it just drops right over Frank Sanders' shoulder and right over the front of Darren Woodson's shoulder.
Sanders' career high of 11 receptions, 190 yards. And they swing it into the end zone, incomplete. Eric Metcalf, the intended receiver. Those of you who might have just joined us, the Cowboys broke on top. They've been to the red zone 5 times, got 5 touchdowns. Arizona 4 times, 3 touchdowns. Emmitt Smith has 3 rushing touchdowns today. Michael Irvin hasn't caught a pass. He has a streak of 117 games in a row catching a pass, hasn't caught one today.
And Jake Plummer has been hot, and so has Frank Sanders.
And here's Plummer back to throw it and scrambles out of it and gets rid of it. Incomplete. Fred Brock was the intended receiver that time.
Fred Brock is the 4th wide receiver, so when you see Fred Brock in there, that means that, you know, Rob Moore and Frank Sanders are still in there, and then they bring in Eric Metcalf and Frank Brock to give them 4 wide receivers or 4 receivers to spread everything out.
3rd and 10. There's a friend of yours, John Robinson.
Yep, the ex-Los Angeles Ram coach, the ex-USC coach, ex-Oakland Raider assistant. Great coach, a great guy.
Great friend of yours from childhood days, huh? Here's Plummer. Chased by Lett. Throws deep. Overthrows Frank Sanders.
Oh, and he knows it too.
I beg your pardon, and there's a flag on the play.
Yeah, but Jake Plummer is probably going to get a roughing the passer, but Jake Plummer knew that he had Metcalf there.
Yeah.
I mean, he had him. He was wide open, and I think he just put a little too much mustard on that one.
Just sailed.
Flipping the quarterback, number 78 defense. Half the distance to the goal. First down, Arizona.
And that's Leon Lett there. You see Jake Plummer throws that. He's looking at that, and I think what they got Leon Lett for is a hit to the head. But here's what he's looking at, and watch right here. He has Metcalf. And he has it wide open, and he just throws him with the old deal where you need a step ladder to catch that one.
Lett gets a rest.
When you chase a quarterback that far, you want to get some kind of lick on him.
Plummer gets away from the pressure. Gets the ball out to Larry Centers. Been a quiet day for Larry Centers. 35-21 to score. 3:18 now left to play as Plummer gets him back in a hurry.
And now they have to go for touchdowns here. I thought earlier they could have kicked a field goal. Now they need 2 touchdowns, and they're going to have to go for touchdowns here. But Jake Plummer, on some of these things, the way he runs up there, and he reminds me a little of Brett Favre, too.
Yes, he does.
And he doesn't have that size and that strength, but the ability to move and run and stop and throw, and a strong arm.
2nd and 3. Incomplete. Intended for Rob Moore, and Plummer thinks he should get a call here. Deion Sanders having trouble getting back to his feet in the end zone. I'd like to welcome those of you who watched Green Bay bomb the Giants 37-3 to Sun Devil Stadium, where the Cowboys lead 35-21. Jake Plummer trying to get the Cardinals closer. That's Adrian Murrell, and he does get closer. Touchdown, Cardinals, 35-28. Or 27, assuming the extra point's going to be good. The Cowboys, excuse me, John, I was just trying to get it up to date. The Cowboys broke out on top, looked as if they had total command of this game, but the Cardinals have come roaring back.
I tell you, Kenny Wheaton did one thing that you can't do. I mean, you just can't get out there and get in position to let a guy make a move on you like this. You got to come up and attack him right now. You see, Kenny Wheaton waited there, and in waiting, he let Adrian Murrell do anything he wanted to him.
Like in baseball, letting the ball play you. Nedney's extra point is good, and it's 35-28. And you would expect we'll have an onside kick coming up. 29 out of 50 for Jake Plummer, almost 400 yards. Back at Sun Devil Stadium, Pat Summerall with John Madden. Dallas 35, Arizona 28.
The Cowboys are in an onside prevent. I don't think the Cardinals are going to onside kick here. I think you kick this one away.
Knuckler comes down in the direction out of bounds. Sherman Williams was the man who was back, and there's a flag on the play.
Oh, that's a big break.
Yeah, it is. Big break for Dallas. That went out of bounds. That's the last thing you wanted. If you're a Cardinal fan, that is.
Because that's going to bring the ball back to the 35-yard line.
Yep.
It goes in the end zone. It goes to the 20-yard line. It goes out of bounds before that. It goes to the 35-yard line.
Kickoff ruled out of bounds. Ball belongs to Dallas on the 40-yard line.
40-yard line.
40-yard line. So you lose 20 yards. See, this is a 20-yard play here. If this ball stays in bounds and goes inside the pylon, the ball's going to come out to the 20. If it goes outside of the pylon, which it did, the ball goes to the 40.
Tonight, after a new World's Funniest, Homer's Gone Hippie on a far-out new Simpsons. Then make a date at the drive-in on a brand new That 70s Show. Plus, it's the second new X-Files episode of the season. All start tonight at 7/6 Central right here on Fox.
And the Cardinals are probably thinking if we knew we were going to kick it out of bounds, we would have kicked an onside kick.
Here's Emmitt Smith looking for some yards, and the Cowboys looking for a first down, and he won't get but 3 or 4 there, if that much.
Yeah, the Cardinals only have one timeout. They wasted 2 of them. But when you have one timeout and there's more than 2 minutes left, you're going to get another timeout at the 2-minute warning. Then if you can stop him, you also get a timeout at the change of possession if you can force him to punt.
Michael Irvin comes left with Enos Williams. Aikman on 2nd and 7. Back to throw it. Looking to Michael. Behind him, incomplete.
Michael Irvin still hasn't caught a pass today. In fact, I think that's the first one that they threw to him.
I think so. The last game he went without a catch was 1990 at Philadelphia.
See, now what that did, that stopped the clock, so the Cardinals didn't have to use a timeout. So now if the Cowboys run on this down and the Cardinals stop them, then they can use their last timeout. Then they'll get another one at the 2-minute warning, and then they'll get another one at change of possession.
You think they'll run it or throw it?
They're in a throwing formation. I would think they would run it to keep the clock going, and they do.
And it's Emmitt Smith, and he's going to get a first down.
Oh, that's a big run.
Is it ever?
Big play for the Dallas Cowboys. Look at Vince Tobin. He knows that too, and I think with one timeout, I think that the Cowboys were really forced to have to run that play. I think that Chan Gailey was smart in going for a run. Now watch Vince Tobin. He sees a run and knows he has to stop his team has to stop him before they get to that first down marker.
Look at Chan's got a little motion going too.
Yeah, well Chan fooled him a little. He gave him a passing formation to run a running play.
Emmitt Smith breaks a couple of tackles. Flag on the play. Coming up on a 2-minute warning, but there's a penalty marker down.
Yep, and that's in the area of offensive holding when the referee calls it. Referee lines up to the right of the quarterback, and he calls holding on the right side, and he calls anything on roughing the quarterback.
Holding. 73 offense. 10 yards. Repeat first down.
Against Larry Allen.
Well, he called it all the way across on the other side.
Yep.
Here's Larry Allen right here. The referee's way over on the right side of the quarterback. I don't know what the heck he saw. Well, he saw him hold and grab him right there.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Held Simeon Rice.
Well, maybe that's why Simeon Rice hasn't been very active today. Maybe Larry Allen's had a little hook on him, but Larry Allen has been blocking Simeon Rice well today, too.
1st and 20. That's Chris Warren who gets the carries. And we'll get the 2-minute warning. 35-28 Dallas. The Cowboys have the ball at midfield with 2 minutes left.
Miller Lite, an official sponsor of the NFL and Super Bowl 33.
At Sun Devil Stadium, Dallas 35, Arizona 28. 2 minutes left to play. Pat Summerall with John Madden, one of the few sellouts that they have here in Arizona, and it's been a very enthusiastic crowd all day long. And it usually is when the Cowboys come here and sell out. Dallas first down. Second down, beg your pardon. 2nd and 13. This is Chris Warren, who gets away from one tackler but gets nowhere. Andre Wadsworth knocks him out of bounds. That's only his 3rd tackle of the day. And the clock is stopped.
Of course, he's been going up against Eric Williams, and you're not going to make a lot of tackles when you play against Eric Williams. And you see what that is Warner start the inside, and then he just bounced to the outside. This isn't a bad deal. I think that Chan Gailey wants to get Chris Warren more into the game, get him more plays, but Emmitt Smith is playing so well, there's not a lot of opportunities.
Warren did not get forced out of bounds, so Arizona was forced to call their last timeout. So they have none left. Today's game produced by Bob Stinner, directed by Sandy Grossman, the associate director Mike Roy, broadcast associates Fran Morrison and Charles McDonald, technical producer is Bob Muller, studio produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy, associate director Jennifer Love, senior producer Bill Brown, executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. 3rd down and long, and Aikman to Warren, and the Cowboys will have to punt it. This has been an unusual game in that the Cowboys broke 21-0. They looked in total control, but the Cardinals in the second half have really fought back behind Jake Plummer. An outstanding play by Frank Sanders.
Jake Plummer's been outstanding. I mean, I can see, you know, there's question, is he the real deal? Is he, because there's so many young quarterbacks, and you think, you know, that they struggled the first couple of years, and are they going to be one? And you really don't know, and I mean, it takes 3 or 4 years. But after watching Jake Plummer, you know, on tape and watching him today, I would go out and say Jake Plummer is going to be one.
Toby going in to line up a flag on the play.
Repeat 4th down.
I think they wanted to take that 5 yards and get back to give Goen a better angle to get the ball out of bounds inside the 20-yard line.
Stop the clock with 1 minute and 2 seconds to go. The Cardinals with no timeouts.
That old coffin corner.
Metcalf back deep.
Here's where you like a snapper like Dale Hellestrand. Right, an old veteran that you know is going to get the ball back there perfectly.
Never snapped a bad one. Bounces back outside the 20 where it's down finally by Mobley. And here's what Jake Plummer has shown us today.
Well, you see that one was a quick release.
Sanders.
See, this one is a touch pass, getting it outside to Rob Moore. And then that one again, just getting rid of the ball quickly to Adrian Murrell. And then he made some other big plays in this game by running around in the pocket and then throwing it. I mean,
getting away from pressure.
Yeah, I mean, not running all the way and running the ball, but running out and then still getting rid of the ball.
1st and 10 at their own 22. Plummer
like this.
Chase out of the pocket. Pass is caught. Metcalf gets out of bounds, stops the clock. They still have 45 seconds left.
Yeah, you just get the feeling that this guy, Jake Plummer, is playing like he's just playing in the park. You see Metcalf here has had tendonitis problem, all year in his knee, but he looks pretty good today, and he's pretty active, and that was one of those option things where you run up, the guy plays you inside, you can go out. If he plays you outside, you go in.
No timeouts remaining, 45 seconds remaining. Plummer drops to throw. Chased by Pittman. Now chased by Hennings. Gets rid of it. Short. Moore tried to come back for it. Just couldn't quite get there.
That was still a pretty long throw for being so off balance the way Jake Plummer was on that one. I mean, this guy has a strong arm and could throw from any angle. He doesn't. A lot of guys believe that they have to have their feet set to throw the ball perfectly. This guy can have his feet in any position and throw the ball.
Chan Gailey, the Dallas Cowboys head coach, checking out along with Vince Tobin, who leads the Cardinals.
Jake Plummer's thrown for over 400 yards today and 3 touchdowns.
Plummer again. Fires down the middle, and the pass is caught by Moore. Trying to get out of bounds. He's inside the 10. He's down at the 4. 23 seconds. Kenny Wheaton. Still plenty of time. Clock's running. 15 seconds.
He's going to have to just throw the ball down and get the clock stopped, which he will right here.
9 seconds left.
Jake Plummer, he sees something, isn't he? This is a fun guy to watch.
How many yards did you say he's thrown for? 430 or something like that?
Yeah, he's thrown for over 400 yards. I mean, it must be close to 450 now.
465.
465 yards, 3 touchdowns. Only 1 interception. That was that slant pass to Deion Sanders. But look at this guy. This guy is a leader. This guy is a competitor. This guy plays the game the way a quarterback's supposed to play it.
They get up to the line in a hurry. The Cardinals are set. And the Cowboys now are set motion. And Plummer drops to throw it. And he can take off and run with it. Fires. Incomplete. 3 seconds left. One more play. Sanders, the intended target. Oh, he was the target.
Yeah, but he knew that he had to get rid of that ball. He couldn't take a sack because he has no timeouts.
Jacksonville beat Tampa Bay 29-24. Those of you who watched that game, welcome to Sun Devil Stadium, where the Cowboys lead 35-28. The Cardinals at the 5 with 3 seconds left. And Plummer. Incomplete. And objects come flying out of the stands, but nobody indicates touchdowns, and the Cowboys have escaped this Cardinal onslaught. It was intended for Rob Moore.
Ooh, and I think they did escape one right there.
Yeah.
That should have been a penalty. The ball's in the air. You can't touch the guy. You have to be looking. Kevin Smith wasn't looking. That should have been pass interference. And then, of course, the time ran out, but the game cannot end on a defensive penalty. But there wasn't a defensive penalty called.
Jake Plummer thinks there should have been.
Ooh, he better watch out. The highs and lows of coaching, Pat.
An amazing finish, and Cowboys improved their record. 35-28. The Cowboys win it.
Hi, welcome back to NFL Sunday Ticket headquarters, as the 4 quarters from the game on your dial have no more time for you. However, there is still some time left in our late game lineup, so check out another contest, and we'll see you after all the games are complete on NFL Sunday Ticket.
You watch Dick Olin.
This is the Cowboys postgame show. The Cowboys postgame show is brought to you by AT&T, by Bank One, by the Dr. Pepper Bottling Company of Texas, and by Hager Black Label.
Welcome to the Dallas Cowboys postgame show, coming to you from Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona, where the Cowboys have just escaped with their lives. Good evening, I'm Michael Ray outside the locker room here at Sun Devil, and if I told you the Cowboys jumped out to a 28-0 lead, 8 players caught passes, and Emmitt Smith had 3 touchdowns, you'd say, well, a romp. Well, kind of, not really though. It came down to the last 3 seconds. The Cowboys did jump out to that big lead, but Deion Sanders got hurt. And Jake Plummer worked his magic in the second half, as he often does, and the Cardinals came back. They came to within a whisker of beating the Cowboys, or at least tying them and sending it to overtime like last year. But the Cowboys do survive a scary one in the desert. 35-28, the final score. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of players to talk about when Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
Plummer back playing the screen right at the 10. Center's made by Omar Stoutmeyer. Now there's the defensive play. They're looking for to set an early tone. Left, this might be a gap option. It's an option play right. A pitch from Mills to Smith. Turns the corner to the 5, and he's out of bounds at the 3. Oh, they've had that play in.
We are back on the Dallas Cowboys postgame show. I'm Michael Ray outside the locker room. It's kind of crazy, as you might expect. We don't know. We hope to hear from Jerry Jones in just a moment. We'll certainly go in and talk to players after they calm everything down. It was quite a day here in the desert. It didn't really appear to be the type of game that it wound up to be. That is to say, it was a big lead for the Cowboys, but it wound up to be a squeaker. Early on in the game, it was Troy Aikman going back to a play that Jason Garrett worked with great success against the Bears. It worked again today as he found Eric Bjornsson deep.
Fakes the draw, half roll to the right, throws deep left. Bjornsson's all by himself at the 25. If you hurry, Eric, you're there. To the 10, to the 5, diving for the pylon.
Deion Sanders on an injured toe, but still effective.
The right, Plummer, 3-step drop, throws a slant. It's picked off by Sanders at the 20, right at the 15, needs a block at the 10, the 5, and down to the 2.
As the Cowboys mount a drive again, looking for Billy Davis deep.
Good protection, deep ball down the right sideline for Billy Davis. Caught it over his shoulder with a 35 to the 30 before Tom Knight trips it. 3rd down.
But as we say, it came down to the last 3 seconds.
Fade, right side of the end zone for Moore. The ball is on the ground, incomplete, and the Cowboys survive. And in the...
Well, they wanted some excitement here in the desert, and they got it. The Cardinals did not measure up today. The Cowboys go to 7-3. They take a commanding 6-0 lead in the division, and they hold all tiebreakers at this point. Effectively, a 3-game lead with 6 to play. But if the defense plays like they played the second half today, you have to wonder how that's going to turn out. We'll find out. That's yet to come. We'll talk to some players, coaches, and all involved when Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
First down. And they run a reverse. The reverse is fumbled. It is picked up by Dallas at the 32-yard line. The receiver on the reverse just dropped the ball.
Yes, order 2 and you'll get 1 free. Act now.
Left. Johnston comes in motion, first down at the 19. Aikman straight drop. Deep ball to the middle. Oh, a great leaping catch at the 2-yard line by Dave LaFleur. He's down at the 1. Aikman throws a bullet.
We are back on the Dallas Cowboys post-game show here from Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona, and it was a wild one, to be sure. We are joined now by team owner and GM Jerry Jones. I feel like I've just seen 3 different ball games. How do you sum this thing up today?
Well, I think, first of all, Deion Sanders, losing him defensively made a significant difference. Give the Cardinals some credit. Their quarterback is outstanding when it comes to getting out of the pocket. But let's give people like Chad Hennings credit too. They didn't have any legs near the end of that ball game and just kept playing. Kevin Smith made probably the play of the game on the last play. That's a great athlete, great receiver that he was out there guarding, trying to make a game-winning play. But I think as far as our team is concerned, everything's about getting better. Everything's about learning. I liked what we did out there offensively today. I liked the fact that our team sees that this NFL, no matter where you are at any juncture of the game, then it can come back and be a ball game. And we saw that today. But our guys didn't quit, and I'm really proud of them.
Both Kevin Sanders and Dion had injuries. Dion spent most of the second half on the bench. You got to be a little bit concerned about the corner play overall once Dion left the game, though.
Well, what we do with Dion, then we're able to overcompensate with our secondary. And when we start having to play it straight, so to speak, our underneath stuff gets pretty vulnerable. And that's what you saw out there tonight.
Surprising in the fact that Michael Irvin didn't catch a ball, but 8 other receivers did. Really starting to see this Chan Gailey offense exactly what was promised in the preseason.
Well, I know that it surprised Coach Gailey. He didn't realize until he got in there after the game that Michael hadn't caught a ball. Of course, we had an opportunity to go to him on that third down, critical third down, and we fell short there 2 or 3 times. We got that old Grim Reaper started coming in on us, and we got some face masks that were questionable, and of course those are really not excuses. It just starts going that way for you sometime. But this is a big win. This is a good football team. We're at home. We're proud that the Cowboy fans here enjoyed this ball game, but I think our team the last 2 weeks are getting better. They're growing, and these are the kind of games. I remember when we won our first Super Bowl in 1992. We won 9 games by 7 or 8 points or less, and we had many games that we had to go down the wire on. So I think that's just part of the process of getting there at the end and maybe being a contender.
Well, you're 7-3. Congratulations.
Well, we're
Thanks.
excited about it, and we're excited about this win too. I'm really proud of these guys.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate the visit. That's Jerry Jones, of course. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Bjornsson in motion. Aikman straight drop, looking right. There's Johnston at the goal line. He flips it to him. Touchdown, Dallas. Emmitt Smith the block, and Daryl Johnston in the end zone.
Players interviewed on the postgame show received the following gifts. $100 gift certificates from Del Frisco's Double Eagle Steakhouse. For great steaks and magnificent lobsters, visit Del Frisco's in downtown Fort Worth or Spring Valley at the Tollway in Dallas. Guests also receive a 100-minute calling card from Caprock Communications, Texas's leading long-distance company. Caprock goes beyond. From Texas Tickets, $100 gift certificates good towards an upcoming concert or special event. If it takes a ticket, call Texas Tickets. Players also receive an Alien 2 Pro Series wedge. Alien Sport, golf clubs made for the way you want to play. Call 1-800-989-GOLF. And now we continue with more of the Cowboys postgame show.
Let's check in on Chan Gailey's blood pressure at his postgame media conference here.
Great football game for those that like scoring. I thought our guys hung in there and found a way to win the game. That's kind of 2 weeks in a row we found a way to win the game, even though it's been different ways we have done that. I'm impressed with what we did from an intangible standpoint, but we've obviously got some things to work on. And defensively, I thought we overcame a lot of injuries today to stay in the game and to stay in the fight. And there were a lot of big plays in that ball game. And we were fortunate to come out with a victory today. That's a good football team.
Did you feel that final play was close to a pass interference goal?
I didn't, but I was, I'm biased. I didn't think so. Plus, I was pretty much blocked. It was on the other side of the field for me.
What kind of adjustments did the issues in the secondary coaches make?
Well, I really would like for you to talk to Campo and Zim about that, because I was really paying more attention to the offense during the course of that time, but I know it made us make some adjustments. And you'd be better off talking to them to get something better for your article.
There's a lot of receivers today. You kind of spread the ball around the offense.
I was talking to Rich. I walked off. He gave me stats, and Michael didn't have a catch. I was shocked, And we threw it to a lot of people today, and I couldn't believe that Michael didn't have a catch. That's unusual to score that many points and throw it to that many different receivers and him not have one. And that's they're still doing a good job of overlapping and creating problems over on that side. But I don't know how long that'll last. But I guess until people realize that we can go other places with it, they'll keep doing it.
Shannon, you're happy with the win. Are you frustrated, angry with the second half and the way they came back?
Well, I'm excited about the win. Do we have things to work on? Yeah, we sure do. Just like we had things to work on last week. But you go on the road and get a win against a division opponent in these circumstances. I want them to enjoy the victory. I want them to enjoy that.
Can you talk about injuries that you had? Obviously, you had a few guys back up.
Well, at some point in time, we had about 3 secondary guys down, and they were working themselves back in there. And we had Kavika go down during the course of the ball game. And we had offensive linemen go down in the course of the ball game, and people kept stepping in there and playing. And that's a credit to our coaches who get those guys ready to play, and a credit to those guys for getting ready to play and being able to step in there.
Brad Sham and Michael Ray now back in the Cowboys locker room after one of the more interesting Cowboy wins in quite some time. And every Cowboy player has to be a hero with this one, and that includes Artie Smith. The big defensive tackle had a tipped pass, tipped the field goal, which turns out now to be an even bigger play. And so let's just start with those. When you get a chance to make big plays, get your hands on the football, how does that feel?
Feels great. You know, Coach always said when it's your time, you got to make the play. And, you know, it was my time, and I got lucky and made the play.
I got pretty tired watching you guys. I know you have to be gassed after the 2 halves you just played.
It's very gash. I mean, you know, they got a great quarterback, great offense, and he had us running around a lot. And, you know, everybody was pretty tired out there.
Well, that was one of the things that the head coach talked about going into the game. He said, we know it's going to be warm. We know we're facing a quarterback who runs around a lot, and where our defensive linemen, especially the ones who don't necessarily start, are going to be playing a lot, and they're going to have to do the job. When you look back at the tape yourself, Hervin McCormick made some play. I mean, everybody, Michael Myers. Talk a little bit about what you guys do and what you do as a veteran to kind of stay ready and know you're going to have an impact on the game, even though you may not be in the starting lineup.
I mean, you just got to stay focused. All week during practice, you know, we don't get as many plays, but you got to stay focused, and that's what the backups do pretty good during practice. We work on our techniques, we work on what we got to do to get better, and, you know, when we come in and back up the starters, you know, I think we do a pretty good job of that.
How about mentally? You're up 28-0. Is there a tendency to pull back, and then all of a sudden you're back in a game? You've got to kind of reestablish?
That's kind of what happened to us today. We got lackadaisical toward the end of the second quarter. Then we came out, you know, and really didn't play good the first couple of series in the second half, and our backs was against the wall. Yeah. And, you know, we can't do that against Arizona because they got a heck of an offense. And, you know, luckily we came out with a win.
Artie Smith, a big part of the reason why. Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
We'll be back in Phoenix when Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
Southwest.
Despite one of the most amazing second-half passing performances the Dallas Cowboys have ever seen against them, this one by Jake Plummer of the Cardinals, the Cowboys prevail 35-28 in the desert today. And we're going to be visiting in just a moment with Cowboys safety George Teague. And you talked to Artie Smith about being gassed. How about those guys in the secondary?
Boy, they must have run several miles this afternoon. I mean, just the type of game it's in, you go up 28-0, you know that they're coming after you, and they sure did. And you just, off camera, we were talking about Jake Plummer. Here's George. Maybe he can tell us a little bit more what it's like to chase Jake Plummer around for a full 4 quarters today.
It was not a very easy task. He's a little bit more slippery than we thought we was going to be. You know, he made some incredible plays getting out of the pocket.
Now, obviously, you're depleted. You don't have Kevin Mathis coming into the game. Dion is hurt, so now you're down more manpower. But still, I mean, this guy starts doing stuff in the second half, and you've been through an awful lot of things in your NFL career. Tell me what you think about, what you talk about on the field when that stuff's going on in the second half.
Well, it makes it a little bit more difficult because we knew the situation we're going into, having to try to contain Jake. But then, you know, like you said, when Dion went down, then we had Kevin Smith have his little injury there. We were kind of scrambling around trying to figure out what we're going to do, so it made our job even a little bit tougher. But, you know, we were able to survive, and that's all it's all about.
I asked Artie, I got to ask you, you're up 28-0. I mean, you're just cruising along, and all of a sudden you find yourself 3 seconds to play. ball game. Ball game's on the line.
You know, it looked like we kind of felt like we were very comfortable with how we were doing the first half. But when we came in and talked, we knew that they were a very good team and that we had to continue to fight. They made some tremendous adjustments when they went to their locker room at halftime. And it hurt us, you know. And then, again, like I said, we had to try to overcome some things, so it made it really tough to try to contain them.
I mean, it's the kind of a game where you walk away. Do you have to remind yourself that you won? Do you have to remind yourself to feel good about it because of what they did in the second half?
You know, Coach Gady said it. You know, sometimes you win by 20 or 30, and sometimes you win just by 2 or 3. And we were very fortunate. It shows a lot for our team that we were able to hang on and win with just a few seconds left on the clock, as opposed to just laying down and let them win.
George, go
appreciate it.
Grab some water.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
Enjoy it. Thanks very much. There's Cowboys safety George Teague. And we're now going to bring in our Cowboys most valuable player of this game for the second week in a row. And there were a whole bunch of reasons that Emmitt Smith was the man today. The most important number to him, and that's why he's such a great player, is the Cowboys win 35-28. Now, as long as you won, we can congratulate you also for passing on the touchdown list Walter Payton and Jim Brown, on the career touchdown list for passing Franco Harris, moving within 20 yards of Marcus Allen on the career rushing list, and no run bigger than that 10-yarder for that first down late in the fourth quarter. To talk about that one.
Oh, well, it was a play that we've been running most of the game anyway, and you know, Larry Allen did a great job of throwing this guy outfield, and I got outside, and Michael made a great block for me outside, and I was able to get around in the ears and get up the field for the first down. I thought I fell down in bounds. Apparently not. Stop the clock. I need to look at that one again.
Speaking of looking at things again, one of the niftier plays we've seen, you and Ernie Mills hook up on a nifty little option play. Tell us about that thing.
Well, that's one of our new plays that we put in, and we've had it in there for weeks, and it was a great opportunity for us to run it, considering the way Arizona played the ends, and with Rice out wide and Jameer. So it was a great play call, and the first time it happened, they did exactly what we expected them to do. The play worked exactly how we practiced it in practice, and opened up big for us.
Now, you've been through and seen a lot of things in 9 years in the NFL. Have you ever seen anything like a game where you're 28-0 ahead at the half and wonder...
27.
28-7 at the half, thank you. And wonder if you're going to win the game at the end?
Yes, against New York Giants.
Oh, that's right.
Go back to the Giants. We was up there about, I don't know, maybe my second or third year in the league. It was up 28, I believe, to nothing, and ended up winning 35-28. Just like today.
I remember that, yeah.
I'll forget that one, huh?
Yeah, and what does, this is your first 3-touchdown game in 2 years, what does that kind of thing mean to you?
Well, it means a lot whenever you can help the team win. And, you know, I didn't come in today's game thinking I was going to score 3 touchdowns and nothing like that, but things happened so well for us in the first half, and we had a couple play calls where we had this certain play that was actually working well down inside the goal line, and we took advantage of that opportunity. The line did a great job of blocking. They did, again, those guys up front did a wonderful job of blocking. I just read the reads and took advantage of whatever I had to take advantage of.
And that's why we're going to talk to Larry Allen here in just a minute, because they did a great job of blocking and you did a great job of running. Our MVP again, Emmitt Smith. Thank you very much. And Emmitt Smith, fueled by some tremendous work by everybody in the offensive line, and particularly the best offensive tackle in football right now. Larry Allen is just getting his wristwatch on, and he's going to be stepping in here.
Could you join us?
We're just about, we're fixing to run out of time. We want to get the best tackle in football on here and talk to him a little bit about this. This is, first of all, congratulations on this game. Those of us who have the treat of watching you play every week are accustomed now to you making defensive linemen disappear. But and people maybe sometimes think that it's easy for you. I know it's not when you're playing against a guy like Simeon Rice. Talk about a game like this today.
Simeon Rice, he's a great pass rusher. He's the best I played against so far this year, and I just kept at it. You know, he's a quick guy, and I end up blocking him. He got by me a couple times, but he didn't get to Troy though.
No, he didn't.
You know, lately the new nickname that you have, the Silencer, has come out. How did that come about?
I have no idea. I just heard about it this morning.
Yeah, they talked about it on ESPN. I heard about it earlier this week. The silence, or apparently, is you hear so much about your opponent all week, and then come game day, you don't hear anything from them. Is that right?
I wouldn't say that. Yeah, some players, yes. Sammy made a couple plays today, and I'm not going to take anything away from him. But for the most part, I think I did a good job today.
Yeah, I think you can safely say that. Yeah. Now, tell me a little bit about the offensive mindset in that second half. When in the first half you seemed like you couldn't help but score. Second half you're scratching to get a first down, keep the football.
I guess they just came in with a lot of blitzing. You know, it's kind of hard when you're not expecting it. You know, we got plays for the blitz, but you know they surprised us with it.
It's another brilliant day for Larry Allen, another All-Pro day, and the Cowboys win partly because of it. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it. So the Cowboys with a big win, 35-28 over the Arizona Cardinals, and we'll see you next week after the game with the Seattle Seahawks at Texas Stadium.
The Cowboys postgame show was brought to you by Kroger, by Nike, by Pepsi, and by the Quality Care Network.
There are